Hi, welcome to Planetary Calendars, Astro Portraits. I'm Ralph Demetrius, one of the astrologers. Our forecast this week is Daniel Craig, the actor. Now, before I get started, I should mention that we do our portraits once a week on Tuesdays, and we do our forecast each Friday. You can find them at Planetary Calendar Astrology on YouTube. Please subscribe. Click that little button for the bell to be notified so you know when the forecasts come in, so you can know what we're talking about when we talk about the planetary calendar. Daniel Craig, famous for a number of roles, but most especially James Bond. And it's funny, we've done this. He's part of our series on actors that do action roles. We did a whole series on women actresses who do action roles. Now we're doing the men in action roles. And he's a bit of an outlier to a certain extent because his son is in Pisces. He was born March 2nd, 1968 at 11:30 p.m. CET, Chester, United Kingdom. 12 degrees Pisces. He has the moon, though, at 24 degrees Aries, and he has the rising at 0 degrees, or 1 degrees Scorpio. So here we start seeing it, because when you look at these charts, what you're looking for is what's Mercury doing, what is Mars doing, and the Mars ruled sign, the Mercury ruled sign, and what's Jupiter doing. Those are the big ones. And his sun is in one of the Jupiter ruled signs. Now it's interesting that, Pisces is a planet of a sign of great belief. And one of the first roles where he became very well known was in a series that was done in England. It was called The Golden Age Elizabeth. It was a part of a series about Elizabeth I. The Golden Age, I believe, was the second movie. And in there, he plays a religious zealot who is sent in part to England from Spain or from the Vatican to defeat the heretic queen. And he's a religious zealot. He does a really good job of it, kind of like if James Bond was working for the Vatican. That was the role he was kind of playing. Not quite as slick and cool, but definitely as intense. And intensity is his name. Why? The sun in Pisces is in the 5th house. Okay, so it's a house which really comes from the heart and is very, very creative. But the Scorpio rising, that's a Mars-ruled sign. And what's interesting is that he doesn't have any major planets by the rising, but he has asteroids, and he has kind of a distance off Neptune. Right close to the rising is Ceres, which is the largest of the asteroids. Right behind that is Juno, which is the marriage asteroid. He's married to another very famous actor, Rachel Weisz, who also is a Pisces and also has done a bunch of action roles, which is once again rather amazing. 2 Pisces married together, what a concept. And then he also has Neptune there at 26 degrees Scorpio. So he has a high level of intuition. When you have a planet that can't be seen without a telescope, whether it's the asteroids or especially the outer planets, close to the rising and other planets there, it means that he has perceptions about the world that other people do not recognize. He probably has a very strong imagination. He has a great ability to visualize. He's very good at picking up things that can't be seen easily. But other people won't see that in him. It's an invisible planet. It can't be seen without a telescope. So he, and especially in his early life, felt misunderstood as a result. And you see this a lot with people who have a bunch of planets, of the unseen planets that are rising. They feel very misunderstood. The first planet that people recognize in him is his Venus in Aquarius and his Mercury in Aquarius in the 4th house. So early on, they recognized, he was unusual. He was kind of exciting. He was kind of alternate, especially as a young kid. But it was Venus. He was very appealing. He's very good looking, obviously. The planets you really want to look for are Mercury and Mars. What are they doing? He has Mars in Aries. That's the rulership position. That's not only the rulership, that's the masculine rulership position. It is the dynamic extrovert expression of Mars. People with Mars and Aries tend to have a tremendously wonderful sense of their personal power. And it's very expressed. You can watch them walk it. They just walk with power. He's got it in the 6th house, which is the area of your basic work. So this is like a basic skill. Conjunct Saturn within the same degree, 11 degrees. It's called a partile conjunction. It's also fairly close to the south, to the north node, which is something that exploring this ability to use this skill was really satisfying to him. And then at 24 degrees, he has the moon in Aries. So this is a very, very martial person. He's also born at night. Remember, the sun is below the horizon, right? Which means the moon becomes even more powerful. So that moon in Aries, a Mars-ruled sign, becomes in some ways more powerful than that sun in Pisces. And there we see that he's played those kind of roles. He has these roles of, very intense, very physical, but also just brings a lot of energy. He did a number of other movies where he plays an investigator, reporter, where he's always kind of digging into stuff. And that's the Scorpio rising, that digging in behind the scenes, and Neptune rising. He understands about finding the hidden quality there, finding the hidden world behind there. So he has all those components that you would expect to find in an action figure. Mars and the moon in Aries with Saturn, right? Scorpio rising. So they're all like, he likes those action roles, and yet it's all, working its way around this very creative, very imaginative fifth house. What's funny is he doesn't have a quality that a lot of the other actors and directors have, is a very, very busy 12th house. But in the 12th house, he has the South Node in Libra. Well, what that would say is that reincarnationally, he has done this before. Being an actor, being in the arts, being behind the scenes, oh yeah, that's old news to me. I fall off a log and I can do it. That's just as easy as can be. He's been an actor, an actress through many, many incarnations. This is not a new thing to him. The ability to maybe initiate projects, well, that's the North Node. And I imagine as he goes on, he'll be able to initiate more projects of his own. What's also very cool about this is the midheaven is up in the 10th, or in the house, which means he was really interested in career. It's Leo, so rising to the height of his career was very important to him. What's interesting is that Jupiter is in Leo at 29 degrees Leo. Jupiter is about achievement. High achievement in the 10th house. This is someone who's going to achieve in Leo at the star Regulus, the heart of the lion. So yeah, it just seems easy for him. Gets out there and people just go, oh, Daniel, we just love watching you. People just love watching him when he's out there in the world. What's interesting is that his part of fortune is actually in the 11th house, in Virgo, along with Pluto, Pallas, and Uranus. That's because in movies especially, and actors to a certain extent, but especially in movies, it's a very technical field. The people who tend to be good at it are good at that type of acting. They have to do, 30 seconds of something and stop. And we're going to do that same 30 seconds again, and we're going to stop. We're going to do 2 minutes of this, and then we're going to do it again, and we're going to do it again, and they're going to do 6 or 8 takes. And then you're going to go back to your dressing room and hang out for a few hours, and then you're going to set everything else, and you can come out and you're going to do another section which may have no relationship to what you just did. It's a very special technical kind of acting, and people who are good at it are very successful. And that 11th house, his ability to work in that way is part of his particular success and part of his particular genius. So it's just a wonderful chart. It's a wonderful balance of male and female too, because you have a feminine rising, a feminine sun, right? You have a masculine Mars and moon. Then you have a feminine cluster of planets in Virgo, and then you have the masculine Jupiter. It's this beautiful, he's very balanced between the two sides of his personality. And the final thing that I like to point out, which is Mercury is oftentimes a major player in this stuff, where his Mercury is the Mercury in the 4th house in Aquarius. This was a child who probably in home watched a lot of television when she was a child. Probably still loves the media. But that Mercury in Aquarius, that's the exalted position of Mercury. It's a very particularly genius position, a brilliant position. And so it means it's a very strong Mercury. So he's got both the very strong Mercury and the strong Mars, But the Mercury is a little less part of it. But he is a thinker. He's someone who gets flashes of inspiration rather than being a deep thinker. It's like lights bolting land in his head. So when he's working on something, he's inspired. So that's the chart of Daniel Craig, a very talented actor. And of course, the person who many of us think of as James Bond. So until next time, remember you can come see us. We do our portraits every Tuesday. We do our forecast every Friday. You'll find them at Planetary Calendar Astrology. Please subscribe. It's a big help to us. And then, of course, you can visit planetarycalendar.com to find your planetary calendars. They come in a bunch of different formats. Whatever you need, we probably have. Until next time, be well.